Hello and welcome to Gateway. My name is Dr. Meryl. I'm a clinical psychologist and the clinical director here at Gateway Psychology. Gateway Psychology is an independent company based in Stoke-on-Trent in the UK, and we provide for the psychological needs of children, young people and families in our immediate area and also in the surrounding regions. Our key aim is to facilitate each child's movement through the challenges or the gateways that they may be facing at a particular point in their lives. This could be emotional, behavioural, relational, or developmental, or any combination of all of those. We have a wonderful team of highly skilled clinicians here at Gateway. All of them are working from home at present. Even this video is coming to you direct from my own living room. Of course, we're all becoming increasingly skilled with technology and online platforms for working now. We're also facing some difficulties and challenges, much as you are right now. Perhaps the biggest challenge is how to feel safe in the middle of so much uncertainty. There is no question that we are living through very uncertain times. Many of us are questioning what's going to happen next. As fast as we catch up on the news, the global and the local picture keeps changing. And to add to it, there are so many sources of news, it's really difficult to know what is an accurate picture, what is overplay or underplay, of what is indeed a very serious situation. There are so many questions. How long will this go on for? How bad will it get? How will I cope? How will my family cope? What will life be like later? Will we ever get back to life as we knew it? And whilst managing our own fears and questions is extremely difficult all by itself, harder still is managing the fears and the uncertainties of those around us, in particular our children. Amidst the uncertainty, one thing is certain. The coronavirus situation is affecting everyone. Parents, carers, grandparents, children, teenagers, everyone. The old normal is no longer normal, but we don't know what the new normal is. Jodi Picoult, in her extremely thought-provoking and somewhat controversial book, My Sister's Keeper, has this to say from the child Anna's point of view. Normal, in our house, is like a blanket too short for a bed. Sometimes it covers you just fine, and at other times it leaves you cold and shaking. And worst of all, you never know which of the two it's going to be. Coping with uncertainty can be difficult, which is why this video is designed to provide you with helpful tips and information to feel safer during the unknown times. The unknown or uncertainty is not knowing what the future holds. It's when things are not defined or not definite. Some of us cope better than others with this, but I guess at some point we all hanker for some sense of certainty, for a blanket that covers us securely. Without some level of certainty, it can feel very much like living in limbo. We may often find ourselves hoping for the best and yet fearing the worst. It can be a fairly scary place to be, particularly when there's potentially so much at stake, or we feel we don't have control over the outcomes, or when we're just feeling rather hopeless and helpless in the situation. But is uncertainty a path to paralysis, or could it open up possibilities? We've all heard the phrase, stuck at home or safe at home. Are we stuck at home or are we safe at home? Are we stuck with the sense of inability and limitation and paralysis, or do we feel safe enough to explore possibilities within these limitations? We often feel safer when we know what is going to happen or when we can control the outcome. And perhaps this is an inevitable part of being human. We all do it, particularly at times of increased stress or when life feels less sure than usual. And how less sure than usual does life feel just now? What we tend to do is to revert to our own unique ways or default positions of trying to feel safe or of trying to take control back. For example, we might find ourselves tidying up or cleaning more than usual, organising the Tupperware cupboard or the Lego box, eating more or less, or drinking more than we know is good for us, and many more. There is a really important underpinning factor to think about in all of this. We can confuse safety with certainty. We often think that safety and certainty are the same thing, and we want them both at the same time. We want safe certainty. Or we end up feeling confused, upset, disoriented, discombobulated. I think that's a pretty great word to describe how so much feels right now. But safe certainty can be something of an unrealistic space, and it's not always the best space to be in if we want to be healthy as humans. Ideally, we would want to be open to new possibilities, engaged with reality and often the beauty of this moment in time, empathic towards our own feelings and towards those around us, and curious, wondering what else might be going on behind the scenes, not being rigid of our view of right now. I hear you. So if we can't currently achieve safe certainty, and it isn't necessarily a good place to be anyway, what should we aim for instead? Let's take a look at the options potentially available to us. Barry Mason, family and systemic psychotherapist, devised this 4-quadrant model to describe the positions we take quite often as humans. And these ideas have been developed by various professionals, including leadership coach Jeremy Keeley, to think about how we manage times of uncertainty and change. Credit to them both for inspiring parts of this video. So, starting at the bottom right corner of the quadrant, unsafe uncertainty. In this position, we might be thinking, I know it's bad. I have no idea how it's going to turn out. I just wish it would all end soon and go away. A truly awful and scary place to be, and maybe how many are feeling right now. It is a vulnerable and fearful position, both physically and emotionally, and can leave us feeling as if we're lacking in direction, either because nobody is providing clear direction, or there are just too many conflicting messages about what to do or what not to do. We can be left with no energy, a sense of lethargy and malaise, general feeling of discomfort, illness or unease, whose exact cause is difficult to identify. We can be left with no motivation, which may well be a freeze response, a survival mechanism when faced with overwhelming threat. Or we may be left with a need to take control or to micromanage things. Remember those defaults we all have? But this is not somewhere anyone would want to be or to stay for very long. Moving over to the bottom left quadrant, unsafe certainty. In this position, we may be thinking, I know it's bad, it's someone else's fault or problem. I know it's all going to end badly, and I know I can't do anything about it. This is also an awful place to be, and also maybe how many of us are feeling right now. It can be quite a dangerous and damaging position for self and for others. It tends to spread like a virus too, this feeling of unsafe certainty, and can leave us adopting worst-case scenario thinking. Of course, it is important to be realistic about the situation, but worst-case scenario thinking refers to focusing all the time on everything negative about the situation. And it is no less aggravated by the constant media or social media bombardment we are getting all the time. It's not always accurate, we know this, and therefore we tend to devise our own perspective of the truth, be it true or false. We also may adopt quite rigid protocols for ourselves, for those around us, those of our own making, but also those imposed upon us. Of course, given current risks, some of these are necessary, but perhaps within reason. We may end up blaming others. We could adopt if only thinking. For example, if only they had acted more quickly, less quickly. This may be the government, our neighbour, the local shops, and so on. We can end up with a sense of learned helplessness. I know it's all going to end badly, and I know I can't do anything about it. And we end up feeling stuck and not safe. Moving upwards to the top left quadrant, safe certainty. In this position we may be thinking, it'll all be fine, they're over-egging the situation, I don't need to do anything, let's just get on with life. Seems like a good place to be, but is it really? I would guess not many of us are feeling this way right now. It feels like a wishful space, a place we yearn for, a way to feel safe. But even in general times, normal times, this is not a great position to take. It is something of a denying, defensive position in which we may be closed to feedback, either from external sources or internal, our own thoughts or feelings, possibly because it's too painful to deal with. It is something of a flight response to overwhelming threat, in which we become blocked and blind to other perspectives. At worst case, arrogant, at best trying to defend our own position. We may become controlling. We may try to defend the status quo, wanting to do things the way we've always done them. We may become defensive when challenged as to alternative approaches. For example, using remote means of communication, finding creative ways to work or to connect or to do school. The danger is that we stagnate and miss opportunities for growth and for positive change. So moving across to the final quadrant, safe uncertainty. This is what we should ideally be aiming for. American mathematician John Allen Paulos had this to say some time ago, but perhaps most pertinent to these current times. Uncertainty is the only certainty there is, and knowing how to live with insecurity is the only security. Let me say that again. Uncertainty is the only certainty there is, and knowing how to live with insecurity is the only security. I guess this is what we mean when we talk about safe uncertainty. So looking at that last quadrant top right, safe uncertainty. In this position we may be thinking, I know that life is uncertain right now, but my focus is on what I do know. I'm just not sure completely how I will get there, but I know I will if I can adapt to the changes needed. This is a position that offers us most hope of not just surviving but thriving, but is dependent upon a safe and supportive environment. Safe uncertainty can help us to feel edgy and energetic. Motivation and creativity is set free, and we can become open to learning. Knowledge isn't a fixed thing, but involves alongside the situations we experience. We can become resilient and responsive, open to feedback, both internal and external, and to new possibilities. We become empowered and hopeful. Safe uncertainty isn't a technique, but an always evolving state of being. It's about who you are, and it offers us hope. There are some ideas we can embrace to make this easier to achieve, but more of this to come a bit later in this video. First, let's think a little bit more about the concept of feeling safe. If we don't feel safe, it is hard or even impossible to cope with uncertainty. We need to feel safe at all levels, and our brains are key in this process. A brain that is too stressed quickly goes into fight, flight or freeze mode, it can be very difficult to get out of that mode. However, if we can nurture a safe brain, we will be in a better position to cope with stress and uncertainty. There are many benefits to a healthy, unstressed, safe brain. The safe brain enables us to stay calm and stay grounded or firmly present in the moment. We can be appropriately attuned to the moment, better able to read other people's feelings and intentions with more reflective ability. We have fewer reactive responses, make fewer poor decisions, and there are fewer false threat alarms. And perhaps most importantly, our empathic ability increases. We can be empathic towards ourselves and to others around us. So as a result, we are able to be safer amidst the uncertainty, which allows us to be and do all of those things we spoke about a few moments ago. We can be open to new ideas and possibilities. We see nothing as fixed or for always. We see things as being in a state of flow. Our self-talk might include, "This too will pass." We understand that life is full of dilemmas and choices, and that there often isn't a solution that fixes everything. We understand that situations can be viewed in context, and new explanations could be placed alongside rather than in place of existing explanations, helping us to gain a deeper understanding and perhaps tolerance of situations. We can be curious and inquiring about the experiences we have. Ultimately, we can feel safe and more able to cope with the unexpected. How do we nurture a safe brain in uncertain times? Be aware of your own feelings, behaviors, your belief systems. Use this time to reflect on those things. Be open to opportunity and what you can learn from yourself, from others, from the world around us. If you have reduced stress, your brain will be more able to do this, which in turn will make your brain even healthier. It's a bit of a win-win process, really. Remember the bigger picture and try to view situations in the long term. Accept what it is for now, remembering that this too shall pass. Try some self-coaching, some helpful self-talk with this sort of statement to yourself. Think about your life purpose, your priorities, your goals. They still stand, even if slightly on hold right now. Embrace uncertainty actively, deliberately, curiously, joyfully. Some important words are being curious, being playful. Pace yourself. What do we mean by pace yourself? Well, of course we mean taking things at a pace that you can cope with, but there's more to it than that. Dan Hughes, clinical psychologist and expert in early trauma, devised the term pace as a way of being that is therapeutic. And since then, the L has been added to give us place. What do these things stand for? The P is for playfulness. Lighten the moment, forgive yourself and others, enjoy the moment, have fun. A is for acceptance. Whilst we may not like what is happening right now, accepting it for what it is may make it easier to cope. C is for curiosity. Being open to new learning, new explanations for things, finding things out about yourself, your partner, your children, your friends. E is for empathy. I can't actually say enough about this. Our coping guides provide some information on what we mean by empathy and how to do it. These are freely downloadable on our website. Do read them. If we add the L, love, we get place. Feeling loved is so very important at these times of social isolation. Find creative ways to connect with those you love and who love you back. Love is crucial to give you a sense of place, a sense of belonging, a sense of security. We've talked a lot today about why it is important to feel safe right now. let's think about some practical ideas that you can make use of to feel safer. Practice mindfulness. This could be breathing exercises, or maybe yoga, or writing in a journal, maybe just engaging in quiet activities. In doing this, take time to evaluate your own feelings and behaviours. You may need to make adjustments to grow your own safety in this way. Recognise your signs of stress and take steps to reduce these. Connect with others, especially the people who provide you with valuable support. This is the L in place. Make time to video call, telephone call, chat with people, especially during these times of uncertainty. Be open and honest about your feelings. Maybe you can train these close friends and family in empathy. Set aside your worry and plan what you can. Let go of feeling like you need to be in control of what happens next. Plan what you can within your own sphere of influence. Be inspired by the positive. Read good news stories. Limit your exposure to coronavirus news. Try to avoid fake news on social media. Try to avoid being overwhelmed by the bigger picture. Remember that you can influence what happens in your own home and with your own family. Remember that you are safe at home, even when the rest of the world is uncertain. You may want to add in the practical tasks to help if you need to. Things like hand washing, cleaning, healthy eating, exercise as far as you're able to do so. Get rid of the shoulds. Don't worry too much about schoolwork, home gym routines, DIY, and other shoulds. I know we do advocate routine and structure, but you may need to find a balance in this. Concentrate more on your relationships with your children, your partner, your family, and your friends. Nurture relationships, and your child's relationships as well, through virtual methods if you need to. Keep busy and stick to a flexible routine. Anxiety, worry, feelings of uncertainty can emerge, especially when we are inactive. Encourage normalcy with routines and flexibly plan activities that keep you physically, emotionally, or intellectually engaged. Think about tasks or activities that could help with feelings of uncertainty. For example, doing some schoolwork now could help your child with their feelings of worry about going back to school at a later date. Try to feel grateful and appreciative of what you do have. Think about friends, family members, or your professional support network. They can help encourage feelings of safety. Connect with them and nurture those relationships. You may want to create a positivity jar filled with the names of people and the things that help you feel safe. Take the time to create a positive tone in your home. Employ plenty of pace and place. Playfulness, love, acceptance, curiosity, empathy. Take the time to laugh together. If you need to, plan activities that will make you laugh. Keep calm. You may need to fake it till you make it. There are more tips in our coping guides. For more ideas of encouraging feelings of safety during these uncertain times, please do take a look at these. They're available on our website. Before we end this video, some of our clients sent in specific questions they wanted us to answer as best we possibly can. Thank you for taking the time to do this. I'm sure your questions are echoed by many others watching this video today. Question 1. Is it okay to let my kids see me cry, or should I hide it from them? I just suddenly feel tearful for no apparent reason and don't want to upset them. It is important that your children generally see you as calm and being able to cope. However, this does need to be balanced with honesty about the seriousness of the current situation and the fact that it is affecting us all to a greater or lesser degree. Do your best to find ways to release your tears, which are understandable. You're not alone in having unexplained emotional reactions during these very difficult times. But to try to release those tears away from your children. Maybe take yourself off to a quiet place. Speak on the phone or WhatsApp with an empathic friend or with your partner. Or maybe just have a good old cry in the bath. And if you do find yourself tearful in front of your children, explain to them that you are finding it all a bit tricky right now, but you will be all right soon. Tell them what you are going to do to manage those feelings. For example, phoning Auntie Jane for a chat. Model to them that it is okay to have these big emotions and still be all right, particularly with the support of family and friends. Most of all, be kind and compassionate to yourself. You don't have to be, and aren't, superhuman. Question 2. How can we build on emotional resilience, especially in single-parent families or where there is more than one child competing for the adult's attention? It is inevitably going to be a lot trickier when a parent or a carer is coping alone or when there are multiple children in the home. Make sure you do have a routine and a structure for each day. That includes time for fun, time for quiet, for chores, and the have-tos like schoolwork. A visual timetable can be really useful. This timetable should include, if possible, one-to-one time with each child, whilst the others are occupied with another activity. Include time for yourself. This may sound like an impossible dream, but even tiny moments of mindfulness, laughter, or exercise can do wonders for increasing overall well-being and resilience. Tag team with your co-parent if you can. Your well-being is crucial to that of your children. As the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. Your routine and structure will likely need some flexibility. Allow for this, particularly when you sense that everyone needs a change of activity. An unexpected or surprise activity can actually jolt your children's dysregulated brains into a more engaged brain, open to new ideas and ultimately to greater resilience. Our website has a lot of ideas for self-care and coping more generally during this difficult time, as well as activities that you and your children can do that will help in specific situations. Have a look at these to see what might work for you. Question 3. What should I say about what could happen in the future? A lot of the questions I'm getting are, how long will this go on for? Will schools restart before summer or in September? Sounds like these are questions no one has the answers for right now. Use plenty of empathy to acknowledge your child or your teen's feelings. Give them space to talk without trying to fix the situation. Our coping guides have information on what empathy is and how to do it. Take a look on our website. Feel confident in saying, I don't know. Use your empathy to show you understand that it is hard. Think about activities or tasks you could do to help you all feel safe during the uncertainty. For example, keep up with school tasks. Keep in touch with teachers and with friends. Stick to a flexible routine. Show your children ways of coping and help them find their own ways to cope. Be honest about the situation, but also remind each other that this too shall pass. Question 4. How can I manage transitions to high school or primary, as there will be no preparation for this for September, and this will create anxiety? Transitions are so hard, even in the best of times, we know. Talk openly and honestly with your child or your teen about their feelings, using plenty of empathy. Plan what you can. Could you do a virtual tour of the school, or set up a virtual meet and greet with your child's new teacher? Could you arrange a video call with an older child to talk about what it is like in high school or in the new class, or more generally? This could be a friend's child. Keep up with schoolwork and educational activities so that your child does not feel like they are behind in anything, as far as possible. And nurture your children's relationships, especially with those children who will potentially be attending the same school. Be creative in finding ways to connect with them and engage in mutual activities virtually. Question 5. What alternatives are there to face-to-face support networks or community activities? There are a lot of video support activities available. For example, Gateway are keeping all appointments in the diary for our existing clients through virtual methods. I'm sure other services will be doing likewise. You may want to also plan a video call, a group call with friends. For example, host a quiz on Zoom as a fun activity, or plan activities you and your children's friends can do separately, like a garden safari. Arrange a video call to discuss what you all found afterwards. Be proactive in nurturing your own and your child's friendships, even if it may be out of your comfort zone to do this virtually. Join a Facebook group or an online support group to find like-minded people who are in similar situations. Just be aware of too much advice, which may conflict, or peer pressure from other parents or carers. Remember, nobody is perfect. Look for virtual activities hosted by local companies or even more widely across the country or even the world. Many are offering alternative ideas for parents or for carers. Maybe speak to your social worker or other support networks about what they know is available in your local area. Thank you for joining us today. We trust it has been informative and helpful. Stay well and stay safe despite the uncertainty.